Over 50 AI models get abandoned or shut down every single month, and the tech industry barely notices. I'm not talking about failed startups. I'm talking about models that were trained, deployed, and promised to change everything. Then they just vanished. Now, before you think this is some doomsday thing, it's actually way more interesting and way more human than that. Because what's happening in the AI graveyard right now tells you something critical about how the tech industry actually works versus how we talk about it. Let me break down what's really going on. First, the scale. We know that OpenAI, Google, Meta, Anthropic, and 100 smaller labs release new models constantly. But here's the thing nobody talks about. Most of those models die quietly. They get deprecated. Companies move on. Users abandon them. And within months, they're offline. The model that was supposed to revolutionize customer service last year? Dead. The specialized medical AI from that well-funded startup? Shut down. The open-source model that had 50,000 GitHub stars? Archived and unmaintained. Why does this happen? 3 main reasons, and they're all pretty revealing. Reason number 1, the economics don't work. Training and running an AI model costs insane amounts of money. We're talking thousands of dollars per day in compute costs for anything serious. A company launches a model, gets some users, realizes they're not making enough revenue to justify the infrastructure spend, and just kills it. They move the team to the next thing. It's brutal and efficient, but nobody publicizes it because it looks bad. We spent $3 million training this thing, and we're shutting it down. Doesn't make a good press release. Reason number 2, the models get worse than newer alternatives. This happens fast in AI. You release Model A. 6 months later, someone else releases Model B that's faster, cheaper, and more accurate. Your users leave. Your model becomes a footnote. And here's the kicker. You can't really update a dead model in the way you'd update software. Retraining costs almost as much as building it from scratch. So most companies just let it die and work on something new. Reason number 3, and this one's the most interesting, the hype cycle burns through them. A model gets released. There's a huge wave of excitement. Startups build on top of it. Think pieces get written, and then 3 months later the attention moves to something else. The model is still technically alive, but nobody's building on it anymore. The community dries up. It becomes a zombie, technically running, but not really serving anyone. Now here's where it gets weird. This happens constantly, and we don't have good data on it. There's no AI model death registry. We don't track which models are actually being used versus which ones are just technically online. It's not like the App Store, where you can see what's popular. Models just fade away. I've been tracking some of these deaths, and the pattern is clear. In 2023 alone, we lost models like OpenAI's Codex, which was the foundation for GitHub Copilot, but got replaced. We lost access to various fine-tuned medical models from startups that ran out of money. We lost open-source models that were abandoned when their creators got hired by bigger labs. And we're losing more every month. Now, you might be thinking, doesn't this matter? Shouldn't we care? Yes and no. The thing is, this is actually how technology works. It's how it's always worked. Most software products die. Most startups fail. Most experiments don't pan out. The difference is that with AI, the cycle is compressed and the stakes feel higher because AI is everywhere in the conversation right now. But here's what actually matters. When a model dies, it usually means something better is coming. The industry is brutal about moving on from things that don't work. That's not a bug, that's a feature. It means we're not stuck maintaining bad models forever. We're moving fast. The real issue is the graveyard itself. When models die, they often take their training data, their research insights, and sometimes even their code with them. If a startup shuts down, you might not be able to replicate their work. If a company deprecates a model, you lose access to it. That's knowledge loss. That's research that could have helped someone else, just gone. Some people are trying to fix this. There are organizations working on model registries, on preservation of important AI research, on making sure that when something dies, at least the knowledge doesn't disappear completely. But it's not a priority for most of the industry yet. Here's the thing I want you to understand. The AI graveyard is actually a sign that the field is moving really fast. It's chaotic. It's wasteful. But it's also how you get innovation. You try 1,000 things. Most of them fail. A few of them become ChatGPT or Claude or whatever's next. The models that are dying right now are mostly the ones that were oversold, overfit to specific problems, or just didn't have the economics to survive. That's not tragic. That's selection pressure. That's the market working. What would be tragic is if we were still using bad models from 5 years ago because we felt obligated to maintain them. We're not. We're moving on. But the flip side of that speed is that we're not learning from all the failures. We're not building institutional memory. We're not preserving the research. And that's something worth paying attention to, even if the individual model deaths don't matter much. So the next time you see a new AI model get released and everyone loses their minds, remember, most of those models will be dead in a year. And that's okay. That's actually how progress works. The graveyard is full, but the graveyard is also where the future gets built on top of. If you want to actually understand what's happening under all the hype, which models matter, which ones are dying, and why the industry moves the way it does, subscribe. I break down one of these AI moments every few days, and this is the kind of thing that doesn't make it into the mainstream coverage.